All right.
All right. Hey, everyone. Douglas here. And welcome back to the MMT Macro Trader live stream. I got to come up with a tagline. I don't know. Your place for all things MMT. I don't know. But we're back for another week of some MMT discussion, MMT fun. Yeah. Take a look at markets.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go this week. We have some things that we want to talk about, some good stuff on Twitter. Some pretty encouraging economic news continues to trickle out. That is on the dock for tonight. But Bijou, welcome, man. How's it going?
Yes. Thank you. Yes, pretty good. Still on the end of this end cycle of this cold, but wasn't COVID, blah blah blah. But it just makes me very lethargic about reading. So if I have a week of cold, I'm like, answer a few emails and maybe just check out a little bit on Twitter or something. And then it's like, can I be bothered to read all this? So I've like stacks of open browser tabs of reading to do. might just drop a few off,
Are you do you podcast? Do you ever listen to? Okay. I know you'll do the live streams and stuff. I know you like, macro and cheese and whatnot, but
macro and cheese, yeah. MMT podcast, sometimes applied MMT.
Oh yeah.
They do a good one. Actually, let me correct that. I think I tweeted out that they did a better job of covering the Richard Murphy. Richard Murphy embarrasses himself with the MMT thing. Brian and Adam there, so check them out.
Okay.
And actually, I think our coverage this year okay too, because we were actually pulled up the article, scrolled through it, had a few comments on the bullet point version of it. But who did a really good coverage of that Richard Murphy embarrasses himself on the MMT thing was Stephen Grumbine over at Real Progressive. So
nice. Okay.
One he did. We should really, if you can, support Steve Grumbine over there because, a lot of the big name MMTers are sort of, done a few rounds on that already, and he finds it hard, I think, to get them back on nowadays. And I was trying to tell him that, don't take it personally because maybe it is a personal thing. I don't know, but I remember, being in academia, it's so stressful. Publish or perish and all that,
yep.
You really don't have a lot of free time, and so it's amazing that Stephanie Kelton does all the outreach that she does. Maybe she has a special contract or something, but between teaching and trying to pump papers out, the life of even a mid-rung academic, actually it's probably worse for mid-rung academics because they don't have tenure, right?
Yeah.
So it's quite hard, and I don't think a lot of MMT economists had a tenure for obvious reasons. Anyway, try to support Steve because he did really good. He managed to get a guy, I think, from the UK, Mike Hall, to chat about it, and it was good. It was constrained to an hour, but did good coverage of that. What else?
I'll have to download. I haven't listened to the Applied MMT podcast yet. I'll have to download that episode.
Yeah.
When did they
covered other things?
Was it on the 24th?
I don't know if you're going to talk about this.
Well, it had been the April 24th. Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
they covered gold standard.
Yeah. That's good.
You guys have some sort of motion to come back to gold standard.
I mean, it gets talked about. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any headlines. Is that being discussed again?
Yeah, I have. Okay, so I haven't listened to the end of that episode either. But yeah, that was the next topic that they were getting to, and then they were going to do a job guarantee. That was episode 10 of, I'm not sure the date.
Yep, 24th, 2 days ago. Okay.
So that should be interesting.
Yeah, I'll download that one, and I'm taking off for vacation on Friday, flying out. So that'll be the perfect thing to toss some headphones on, ignore my children for 2.5 hours while we fly. Let them figure it out.
Who needs those movies? Oh, good evening. Yeah. Michael Cruz, good to see you.
Yeah, Michael and Josh, welcome aboard. Let's see.
So what do you want to do? We've got questions from Jonathan.
Yeah.
Do you have a market recap or something?
I don't. Yeah, we can start off with the questions. Actually, it's kind of neat. That's kind of neat that we got questions left in the chat before we even went live. And I'm thinking, let me know in the comments below when this is done if you watch this after the fact or anything. But I'm thinking like if it would be helpful, I think I can just get the stream set up. It didn't even dawn on me that people could leave chats ahead of time. So maybe I'll do like a 24-hour lead before we go, or give it quite a few more hours before we go live to have the stream ready to premiere. So if you guys do want to leave some questions ahead of time, go ahead and do that. So that's a good idea. But we can jump right on into Jonathan's questions if you want to. So first question.
So
I'll pop it up here.
If you're only listening to this while you're jogging or working out, because I know our chat is not only intelligent, it's also very fit. So Jonathan asks, I wonder if there's a tension between MMT and liberalism. Yes, there is, in the sense that the government could go through its control of the price level, undermine the value of the private capital. And then following on, I know MMT is not ideological, but it seems to be, to me, the tools and power of the government is put in the hands, put in more plain view that with the MMT lens, such that MMT could appear appealing to big government types. I think all of that is hitting good points. So the first one is a tension between MMT and anyone who thinks that there should be a sort of free market, if that's what you mean by sort of liberalism. And I mean free market in the sense that there should be no monopolies, really extremist. So yeah, definitely a tension there, because MMT recognizes the currency is a simple public monopoly. And it's a tension in an interesting way, because, what do you do about that? It's like no one has ever come up with a sort of system of government where the government isn't the legal and currency monopolist. And we've discussed on this channel before, don't go back and replay all the live streams, 3 hours, you're not going to probably be able to find it easily. But we do discuss this quite often. It comes up that MMT, allows any size of government you want, really, up to the point where you're able to enforce tax liabilities. Once you lose ability to enforce the tax liabilities, or, just write the law, then you're not really the government. And so MMT is always working under that assumption that there is some sort of government, and it has a legal and a currency fiat powers, and licenses the banks. So all the banks are not really free agents. They can't just create money willy-nilly with credit creation. They are constrained by all the law of the government. So the government, in a sense, controls the banks and gives them licenses. And then, so you've got, when you have to define liberalism more closely for me to figure out if there's other sort of tensions. But yeah, I mean, MMT would have a tension with anyone who just doesn't like MMT. That's a tautology, right? So, it's a meaningful tautology in the sense that I could expand upon that and give you a much more. It could give you an essay-long answer if you like.
That's funny.
But
that's good.
But what would you understand, Douglas, about undermining the value of private capital? What do you think it means by that? Maybe Jonathan, you could expand on that in the chat. I'm not sure.
Yeah, later on.
Undermining the value of private capiel. Value of what sense? A monetary value?
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Not like
relative price value.
Yeah, like a nominal value. Yeah, through control of the price level. So, Bijou, you and I were chatting real quick before this goes live, or before we went live, about these questions. And great question, by the way. I mean, it's creating some good discussion. I'm going to assume he's talking nominal sense, right? Because I mean, in a real sense, it doesn't. Yeah, if you're just enjoying what it is that you have, right? If private capital just makes you happy, regardless of the value of it, then regardless of the nominal value of it, then whatever, right?
Yeah.
But so I'm going to assume that they mean, some sort of nominal value here with control.
Let's assume that an authoritarian, tyrannical dictator hasn't gotten a hold of the MMT idea.
Yeah.
Because they can enforce all relative prices. I mean, they can really just mess things up by just saying, here is the price of everything.
Yeah,
everything. It's like they're Walmart, like basically People's Republic of Walmart.
But
and so if you
go ahead.
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
It's like you let relative value settle in a market, but MMT controls the nominal price level.
Where I was going to finish with that thought, though, is that and this is what you mentioned before we went live, that the government is the monopoly price setter, and so if it wants to, it's not undermining. It's just that it can set. It is going to set the price level of anything that it would be able to purchase in its own currency that could be sold to it, right? So that's kind of the base MMT case. And here's the thing too, in terms of undermining the value of the private capital, if the private sector wants it more than the government does, I mean, in the sense that the private sector is willing to just kind of give up more, it can, in theory, fight for the resource, right? The government's just like, yeah, actually, I don't need this, right? I don't want whatever. The private sector can say, nope, I really want this. So
you can undermine the value of cigarettes quite easily.
Yeah,
and that might be a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Call them Nazis, but but I think it's been a good thing for humanity that we've had alcohol and tobacco. Controls and restrictions, and advertising restrictions and all that. All the advertising restrictions that all undermines the price value of those commodities. At the same time, all governments seem to want house price bubbles to occur because it's all this insane thing about retirees need the house to retire with.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
They just get that way out of control. And, it's almost deliberate. It's a shameful thing.
Following up on the second part, though.
But the second part was interesting. See, MMT is ideological, except that there's no single, there's no unity and harmony amongst the MMT on the ideology.
Yeah,
MMT is ideologically diverse. It allows all sorts of people to be united together in the sense that they all have a macro agreement about MMT, that it's a description in the first place of most monetary systems.
All
monetary systems. In fact, I was just looking at, we were just trying to find an old Warren Moses tweet recently, but I couldn't find it. But it came a new Warren Moses tweet. I couldn't find it, but came up with all. I was just looking through his thread. You came up with all sorts of interesting little tidbits. One is that, and they're really good things, but really succinct and nice. But one was he'll say something like, well, MMT is a proper framework for analysis of all currencies, including crypto. What is crypto? It's like a gold standard. It's like you got a supply of this stuff, and it's but there's an interesting thing, because where's the crypto tax? What creates the demand? So that's the point, right? What is creating the demand for your quote unquote currency or crypto token or whatever it is that you're using like a currency, but sort of not like a proper currency. You're not really circulating it very well. What's driving the demand, right? In the case of crypto, it's not the tax. It's a black market. A need for a lot of people with a lot of actual state currency, dollars, euros, whatever, rubles, the need for them to fly under the radar. And they are your base demand. They go away, I think crypto kind of like the bottom falls out of it. But as long as you have black markets, people that need to avoid, the banking system and that sort of thing. And, it's even better now than having a numbered Swiss bank account. Although actually a numbered Swiss bank account would be like more secure for them, right? Less leaky. Whereas because the price of crypto is insanely volatile, they're losing millions of dollars sometimes, but they don't care because their circulation is billions in the drug trade and all that.
Crypto becomes crapto.
Yeah.
We've been seeing a little boom in Bitcoin as of late, though. I think Bitcoin's up to 29,000.
Like I said, it's what I saw. Demand for it is generated somehow, and then it'll survive even despite it being a real just a messed up thing.
Yeah, we got close to 29,000. So you know,
Yeah,
one of the I don't want to call it the best arguments, but an argument that seemed reasonable for the demand of Bitcoin, to drive demand of Bitcoin, is that equivalency to what a tax is that people will want Bitcoin because Bitcoin. Now that I'm saying out loud, actually, it probably isn't much of an argument, but
not much, but you can make a bit.
But effectively, the fact that the new digital era is going to happen on the blockchain, because of that, that in and of itself will be kind of the drive is effectively the tax that drives the need to use the currency of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm not
20
sure about it.
Yeah, listen, I'm not buying it, but Ty, I buy all my drugs on the dark market with crypto. Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny. I'm a bit of an avid poker player, and you can get on a lot of unregulated poker sites using crypto, and I mean they are the weakest sites to play on, and I've thought about it, but then I'm like, then I got to deal in crypto, man. The whole idea of I guess you'd have to figure out a way. I mean, this is it, and maybe these are operations that take place. Ty, maybe you can let us know if you do have a lot of money on crypto. Do you hedge? Do you somehow have a way to hedge against?
Well, that would be fruitcake, not Ty.
Oh yes.
I think you're referring to the wrong Canadian.
The lost passwords are kind of funny. I think my, what do they call it? Your it's not a password. It's it's like 10 different words or something like that unlock your Bitcoin wallet. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I keep mine in a safe. Hopefully it's still there. I don't know. Maybe my wife saw this list of words in our safe one day and was like, I'm just going to throw this thing out.
I certainly know there's a lot of unlicensed exchanges, right? And they have some pretty bad slippage. So you can make a trade.
Oh yeah.
On your by your calculation, you've made $1,000, but when it actually the statement comes through, it's only 800 or something. It's like there's just no accounting for it if they're not licensed and so forth. It was really dodgy stuff.
It was so terrible. So I bought when Mania was going on. I think I ended up buying about $1,500 worth of stuff. Right. It's, I can tell you how much it's worth right now. Let's see. I think we're at about $62. So when Mania was going on, I decided to just give it a shot and see if I could get any of those. They're called shit coins. Make a few bets on a handful of the shit coins, and 1,500, maybe $1,000. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, the real tax, like you said, is all the burning that takes place. I mean, I think when it's all said and done, especially to buy, if you wanted to buy like the real shit coins that aren't on like the main exchanges, so you have to convert to all these different currencies to eventually get them. I mean, for every $1,000 that you buy, you're actually only getting, when it's all said and done, like $800. 20% of it's just taken in transaction fees. So that's the real tax. But anyway, crypto's dumb. Yeah. So we can move on.
It's also psychological tax. It's like a stupid tax, because once a few people are in it and they have a bit of shove or a bit of social media clout, they are psychologically imposing a psychological tax on a lot of others who need the price to keep going up. It's all psychological. It's a Ponzi kind of a tax.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about quasi taxes here. The way to create the demand for your sort of IOU, and then at the end of the day, I'm still a little bit puzzled by why Warren would say that. But MMT does analyze it. You see, it's not like MMT is saying crypto is a currency. It's MMT is a framework for analysis.
For analysis,
currency and other commodities. It's the and other commodities. This is the paperback that in the 90s that he wrote with Matt Forstater. It's MMT's analysis for currencies and other commodities. Their prices, though, not their actual whatever goes on into production, right? So MMT isn't analyzed for how you actually create, sugar or beer or soda pop or whatever. So that's that. In that sense, it's pretty expansive. What was I going to say? I wanted to come back to that question though about the ideology. You put. The thing is that MMT, I sort of agree with the sentiment that Jonathan was writing about, that MMT really does make everything more transparent, and it relates to my answer to your first question, which is that it's better to understand it and see that you know what you're doing at least.
Yeah.
And then if everyone understands it, if the whole society sort of better understands MMT, it's very clear then what governments are doing, and if they're misusing it, which actually might come up later in the live stream if we get onto this other topic. If they're abusing the knowledge of MMT, everyone knows it. It's like it's all transparent. So you want to one aspect of MMT that's huge in activist spaces, or in all of MMT spaces, is to get rid of the mythology and religion surrounding quasi-religion. I mean, not religion. Surrounding the myth that you need austerity and you need to keep people in the dark, because if they really understood how governments operate the monetary system, they'd all go bananas and expect ponies for Christmas all year round.
Yeah,
it's like when you think about that, it's just complete insanity of these people who want people to be deliberately misinformed, so that what? I mean, so that everyone knows you can't all have ponies because there's not enough ponies to go around. So that it's just a completely false straw manning of MMT. And it's like Warren says, he wants an informed electorate, not an ill-informed electorate. And the economists just not helping when they say, oh, well, these plebs, they have to be kept in the dark. They can't be allowed to understand MMT, or what a neoclassical economist would say, they can't understand the reality of the monetary system. They have to understand all this bullshit. Because we're the priests, we have to keep a lid on their demands for things. They might demand too many things.
Yep.
And so that's the whole MMT push, is to have a better understanding and a framework for analysis. And like I said, within MMT, I'll say it again, that there's a huge amount of ideological debate and differences. You've got Marxist MMTers, you've got capitalists, you've got libertarian MMTers, a few perhaps. You got all sorts, anarchists, everyone of all different ideologies is within. You can find them within the MMT community, within the community. Not so much maybe in the literature, like, because the academics tend to be a little bit more democratic socialist or social democrats or liberal democrats.
Daniel,
what else about that?
Daniel, what's going on with the truckers in Canada? I don't know what's going on there.
What is going on? Bank account.
Going back to the final point, going back to the prior point, one thing I will say, I mean, that I think summarizes MMT the best, and summarizes the point of MMT as a framework for analysis, is that above all else, MMT, if you could summarize it, really is just a realization that it's a policy decision. I mean, I say this quite often, but above all else, it's a policy decision. So many things that economists will tell us are laws of nature are really policy decisions, right?
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
There's no law of nature that says there needs to be unemployment, right? There's no law of nature that says the interest rate has to be ABC, right? I mean, these are all policy decisions, and I think MMT allows you to understand that because it's a framework for analysis. Now, there are laws of nature. I'm not trying to deny even economic laws of nature. I'm not trying to deny that there are, but there are
real resource limits.
Exactly.
You can't have a model where growth goes to infinity and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Infinitely many agents with the same exact knowledge of the market.
Exactly.
Stuff is total nonsense.
Exactly.
So there's certainly laws of nature that restrict all of that. All of those assumptions of neoclassical and Austrian school economics are just all contradicted by reality. So by laws of nature, by information constraints, by physics, by psychology. But it's good that you're a libertarian MMT because you'd be one of the sane libertarians. MMT is only going to help you be a better whatever you are.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and again,
even a better total fascistic asshole is going to help you be better.
Yeah, yeah, which is exactly the camp that I consider myself to be in.
Well, supreme benevolent overlord.
Yeah. I think I should.
Douglas Roberts.
Yeah. Let's see.
They knighted you with the Warren Moses sword, right? Export labor.
Yeah. The Turkey situation, and again, I heard a great podcast this week, the Market Huddle. It was recommended. I don't listen to it all that often. I've heard it a few times, but the guy that was on there was really good. He's not an MMT but MMT adjacent. God, Ty, you're the best, man. I actually got some
fruitcake. It will make you a better Canadian, especially if you influence your government in the right way.
Crap, man. I lost my.
Is this what's his name? Market. Who is it? Is it Joe Weisenthal?
No. Nope. It is.
Market
it's a trading podcast.
Okay.
I can actually see if I can't bring it up real quick again.
Yeah.
Anyway, crap. I don't know where I was going with it. The convenient recession with Vincent Delarude, I think maybe is how you pronounce his name. But he was right on target. He's so close to kind of being MMT. I mean, if you even kind of spoke up, or spoke well of kind of the MMT standpoint. But then he talked about, he's like, well, yeah, clearly, we have Turkey and Argentina as examples of, high interest rates, cause inflation. I'm like, oh my God, no. You're missing the key point here, right? They're issuing debt in other people's currencies. I mean, it's going to screw up the whole thing. But it was. I mean, actually, if you're an investor and you want to listen to someone go on for an hour and a half about, I mean, I think he's got a pretty good mindset. And I think a pretty good framework for understanding the macroeconomy from an investment standpoint. I thought it was a great interview. So it's called the Market Huddle. His name, the guest is Vincent Delarude. Definitely worth listening to if that is your interest. All right. MMT definitely exposes that there's a massive oversight and understanding of the banking sector. Yeah, that's true too. Josh. Yeah. Let's see if you are watching, by the way, I'm gonna promote the live stream real quick. Make sure you hit like. We got 9-10 people in here live, up to 22 people, so we could have 22 likes. Nothing stopping the likes from coming on in. Just hit that button. Would appreciate it. If you ran across this somehow and you're not subscribed, you're not one of the subscribers, make sure you get subscribed. Yeah. Little housekeeping too, just for tonight, guys. It is going to be a relatively short live stream. I got to get packing for leaving on Friday. It is a heck of an endeavor to fly with four children. So gotta get ready.
Oh yeah,
gotta get ready. But I will tell you, I did end up buying a new laptop today. So no guarantee that we will be here next week, but it's at least possible. Got a nice new laptop, and we'll have to see when we get down there.
That's good.
But I think we could possibly make it work next week as well, depending on how things shake out while we're out of town. But tonight's going to wrap up a little early as well.
I'm not going to be able to host live streams myself, so it'll depend on Douglas. But
I think the big thing is I'm going to have to check to see what the Wi-Fi is like down there, and hopefully I can get a physical connection, because I'm not going to, if it's...
But also, I don't know. I don't want you to spoil your vacation, man. I mean, if you really love the live stream that much, but I do. It's stressful, nerve-wracking a bit to do a live stream. I wouldn't do it on my holiday, man.
Oh, I think it'd be kind of fun. I think it'd be kind of fun. We're gonna be down. We're gonna be down in Disney World, so maybe I can come live, go live, maybe at the Magic Kingdom or something. That would get the viewers to come on in. Hey,
grab a few people off the street.
Do a man on the street interview.
Social science research.
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. Yeah.
What if Disney produced their own little token currencies? Yeah. Do they need to tax you to get them?
Which they used to. It actually used to be the case. They actually did have Disney dollars. I still think you can redeem them. For
I thought you said it was the case, so they had to tax them first.
Yeah, they had to tax them first. Yeah.
Just for a minute there, you kind of confused me. Kind of confused the MMT. You have to tax it off the people first, then you can give it back to them.
Although in their case, they actually do, right? Because they charge quite the pretty penny. Then once they get our dollars, they're able to print their Mickey bucks to then be able to redeem.
No, that's not a tax, man. Us paying for their.
I understand that. I understand that.
It.
I guess it hurts less than a tax. Let's see. Some of the things we're gonna go over tonight, though. Changing gears is I did label tonight's live stream MMT Victory Lap. I don't know if you saw that or not. Taking an MMT Victory Lap. Really just because. Thomas, I'm well aware of the park stream. We're a huge, I hate to say it, but I do love Disney World. I'm a sucker. So the family watches those streams and stuff like that. Yeah, man on the street MMT sim. Maybe we can do that. I don't know. I hate.
Have we been in a running race here? Is this why we're on a victory lap? Oh, sorry, interrupted you.
No. We're on it. Okay, yeah, no. You're getting me. You're keeping me. Keep me focused.
The reason tight time frame we got here.
The reason we're running a victory lap. Yeah, nice, man. Okay. A fellow Disney YouTube enthusiast. Okay, nice. My favorite is 4K WDW. He's the best out of all of them because he doesn't talk. What was I going to say? We're running a victory lap because MMT is just continuing to be right in every way, right? I mean,
I can't stand this too much being right.
It is. I'm like Charlie Sheen in 2010 or whatever, right? I just keep winning, just nonstop winning here. I don't think that ended up well for him because I think he was having a breakdown because of some health conditions. But MMT just kind of keeps on winning. If you didn't watch it last week, I went over a little bit of the news and just how we continue to see everyone confounded, dumbfounded, at better than expected economic outcomes. And that was one of the things I wanted to hit on tonight. And I guess we can go over them. I mean, we can just jump right on into it here. Give me a second to pull up the browser here. Yesterday, I tweeted this out. I feel a little bit reinvigorated too. I always get a little bit of a boost particularly whenever I can just stick it to the anti-MMT crowd. But I mean, we are just seeing economic growth better than expected at every turn, and this has gone on for over a year now, since the rate hike cycle started to begin. So we saw Microsoft post some just absolute banger results. We saw Google beat expectation yesterday. Today we see mortgage demand rebound. Even though interest rates are hitting high levels, and it's always important to put the big caveat here. And I know it's hard, especially in kind of the Twitterverse, because you only have 240 characters unless you want to pay $8 a month to extend that. And I know this is tough, but it's the better than expected that is really the point that I am trying to drive home, right? It's not that this is the greatest economy that we can have. It's not a great
victory lap in the sense, yeah, everyone's better off. No. It's an intellectual victory lap. It's
and that's it.
What we said is happening. So
that the higher interest rates are not going to crash the economy the way that the mainstream, both kind of left and right, whether you're kind of an Austrian or you're neoclassical. That you would have anticipated, right? And it all comes back to just the simplest of.
I think even post Keynesians might be sort of getting it wrong too, quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I know Steve Keen a couple months ago was calling for deeper selling, and it's hard. Listen, I don't. it's hard to get out in front of any market and call the direction that it's going to head next, right? I mean, I've been very bullish since the end of last year. Heading into November, it was looking like things were really going to start to get hot. And one of the guys called me out on Twitter and said, your predictions continue to be wrong. I did retweet. If you follow me on Twitter, I followed up with there. I have been saying that we are going to be in a bullish market. We're going to be we have a bullish market condition heading into the new year. I was saying that all the way back at the end of last year in 2022. So I'm on record. I mean, if I'm going to make a big call, I'll put it out there. But yeah, we continue to see the exact opposite of what is expected happening. And the only, in my mind, I'm not, I guess the other thing too, I'm not seeing anyone give a compelling reason as to why we're seeing a better than expected economy for the last year, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who are now realizing that this is the case and that clearly things are far more resilient, but no one's giving the framework for why the hell everyone was so wrong back at the end of last year. And the only framework that makes sense to me is really just the base case. Look, when you raise interest rates, you're going to also be supporting the economy with new with the interest channel and new income. So,
especially when the government is more than 50% of GDP. There are Randy Ray, Al Head papers that have analysed the effects of that. Although Warren Mosler does it from a more sort of macro, high-level point of view. Government is a huge net payer of interest. And Steve Keen would do it from a modelling point of view when you include the government sector with outstanding treasury issue, paying a huge amount of interest. And it all just pushes up the price level. It's an inflation thing, which, although it's a bit regressive, and it relies on trickle down for some of that spending channel to work, it's a one-way street. It's generally upwards for the rich, and trickle down, as some people have said, works. It's not a great policy idea.
It works for some. It works for some.
It creates massive more wealth inequality. But if you can get the trickle down, right? People still need to eat, so you need workers to bake your croissants still, right? Or make your lattes.
Yeah.
The coffee shops are going to stay open, right? And if any business that sees expanded costs raises their price, and people are still going to buy the goods, and so they're going to be able to pay their workers a slightly better wage. It's all very regressive though, because the real wage is still declining. So there is a way that it can end with just slowly, like agonizingly, with the real wage just declining. But other things will kick in before that.
And
also, to Ty's point.
I want to jump on. I want to jump to there too.
Jump on that one.
Yeah. Real quick though, TR, what is Microsoft selling? Yeah, I think a lot of annual subscriptions. They also have a lot of businesses that are, like Salesforce. I think they bought. They've got a lot of businesses, a lot of businesses. Yeah, advertising. A lot of cash flow coming in through different channels. But to be fair, let's be fair, Ty. Rates are not historically high, which you're right.
Yeah, I was going to say two things. Right, it's the fact that they're not historically high, and also the rate of change of the rate increases hasn't been dramatic. It's like half a basis point. That's important too, because it's the rates of change that can be disruptive.
With that being said, Ty, I hope you're all right with me kind of talking about this for just a second, and I'm really excited to see how this plays out. And you tweeted out today, this is today, earlier today, that you've been working on a complete macroeconomic model. And I gotta tell you what, man, I am excited to get my hands on this. It looks awesome. This was eventually going to be one of the projects when I finally had the time to do it, that I wanted to do, is build something like this up in Minsky. And so it looks like this is a great start at getting at something that that I had always kind of envisioned would be neat to see with Minsky. So this looks awesome, man. I'm excited to see it drop when it finally does. If you need any beta testers, man, let me know. Hit me up. Yeah, because I'd be interested to see. I'd be interested to see this, and I'm also. I think I'm also interested to see too, kind of some of the assumptions you are making, particularly with interest rates and how that ends up impacting the. Well, I don't know how to. I guess what the knock-on effect
Phillips curve model is sort of using as well.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see. I'm really excited to see this play out, man. And it looks like 90
results.
Yeah, 92 likes already, getting a lot of a lot of traction already. So
brilliant.
Looks cool, man. Looks cool. Excited to see that. When it finally publishes. But Ty, going back to your point, when you say that they're not historically high, are you saying that eventually there is some sort of tipping point? Is that the idea there? Because I don't.
Rate of change would be one. If you shoot the interest rate out by 10% suddenly, that's a huge disruption. All sorts of crazy things can happen.
Yeah.
What else, right? If a lot of people are now sort of moving to floating mortgage rates and all that, obviously there's a lot of damage to be had there. If there's a big rate hike or a big series of rate hikes. What else? It does overheat things a lot, so people have to keep getting out their Sharpie pens and changing the price tags. And there's this phenomenon they call sticky prices, which is, I don't know, sort of like a parameter in some DFT models. They have to put in this sticky prices parameter because there's no other way that they can explain divergences from what they regard as a free market. The neoclassicals and neo-Keynesians, that is, bastard Keynesians. But we know that Steve Keen is a very good promoter of what's his name? Blinder, Alan Blinder, neoclassical, who did all the research on this, showed what it really is. It's just firms priced by markup on top of costs, and they don't do any supply demand analysis unless they see as Robux or someone insane that is just operating their business like according to the neoclassical textbook, right? They're just going to resolutely do some sort of analysis to determine what price they should set. But every other firm is like looking at their costs and then adding a little bit of a markup, and that's how it works. And then there's a sticky prices because firms don't like to lose customers. They like to keep their prices constant, even if they are facing rising costs. They'll resist raising their price because they also compete on a lower price than their customers and all sorts of things like that. And unless they're Apple and they've got psychological lock-in or something like that. So all that research has been done. The other thing Steve Key's funny about is he always makes the points out, although Alan Blinder did all this stuff, in his textbooks, he completely forgets that he did that stuff. It goes back to neoclassical insanity again. So, I don't know. I don't have enough of a sort of. I'm not like Srinivasa Ramanujan for the markets. Friend of all the market prices that I know things backwards and forwards. So I'm running out of ideas on how the interest rates would actually crash things, but I think I've mentioned enough mechanisms. I think if I run a naive Steve Keen model, so not one that's a Minsky model, not one that's as detailed as what Ty Keynes is doing there, but just a naive one or two, then I can easily crash the economy either direction with a high rate of interest. Like just spiral right up to infinity or just crash it right down to zero, because the instability of a sort of naive system without government support. So this is a Minsky model without a government sector. It's highly unstable. So it's actually quite an effort to find a stable fixed point. I can find it mathematically, but it's unstable, right? So you can have an equilibrium, like sitting on the top of a infinitesimally pointed hill or crown, whatever, or tip your what's a curved surface? Just tip a mixing bowl upside down, put a marble on it, right, and it'll soon drop off. That's the instability. So it's an equilibrium. If you balance a pen on its point just well enough, and I used to do this in class, in English class and other non-mathematics classes.
the classes that don't matter.
Yeah, used to balance all my point. Yeah. Economics. you should try and balance all my pens on the desk, right? And that's the instability of like a private economy where there's no government support. It's like that. You can balance it, you can have an equilibrium, but it's totally unstable. So anyway,
Ty, at some point, man, I'd love to have you on just to discuss this. Not even to debate it. I would just like to wrap my head around this a little bit more, guys. I know I'm like completely off screen here. Sorry about that. I think where I struggle to fully understand what, and hopefully the more robust model that you're building will maybe get at this a little bit more, kind of make it more intuitive as to what's being said. But the thing that crashes the economy, if you will, right? I mean, the pin to prick the bubble, or however you want to put it, right? For rising interest rates. If I'm understanding this correctly, so one, I mean, it doesn't really boil down to, at least the way that the kind of the Minsky model understands it, is the slowing down of the slowing down of the repayment of the debt. Isn't that the problem? And also, you put down here, servicing debt will become an issue. But if the incomes continue to increase in lockstep with the growth,
exactly, the government is always providing the necessary
income
currency injection for the debts to be serviced, private debts to be serviced, especially with over 50% of GDP coming from treasury bonds. It's an issue of the mechanism of whether it trickles down enough. I reckon. Yeah, if something blocks trickle down. And maybe we should do something. I don't know if someone's going to do anything about that, but yeah, it's like if something blocks trickle down for some reason, then I think private debt at the lower income end is huge, like massive catastrophe. That does something. I don't know what it does. Maybe it's put the politics that first get affected.
Yeah, you're right, because something's got to get in the way. I mean, I think the thing that's
going to get in the way of that trickle down.
I think the way that it could get in the way of the path of trickle down would be some sort of inability, because one of the things that the higher interest rate is going to do is it does effectively recapitalize the banks, right? The banks are the large bondholders. They're going to be getting the lion's share, if you will, or quite a lot of the interest payments that are coming out. That is a direct capital injection to their balance sheet that allows them to expand their balance sheet, right?
All right.
And as long as their balance sheet can expand, you can continue to support a higher private debt to GDP level, right? So, I'm seeing you have kind of, guys. I guess what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to talk out loud my thought process, because I would, I want it. Yeah, I know, Ty. You know what, Ty? If you're ever up for it, man, we'll have you on and we can just kind of talk it out. I realize I get to use words coming out of my mouth, and you have to type it out. Yeah. And I'm sure, I'm sure we could, kind of connect a little bit easier, chatting it out. But anyway, it's yet to click to me that at any point the rate hike cycle will actually be in any way the causal mechanism to cause a downturn. If anything, how I think it will happen, this is at least how it happened in 2008. And when I say a downturn, I mean, I'm saying a downturn that is a recessionary downturn. The way that it happened in 2008 is you ended up started getting massive price gouging, particularly through energy, right? And I still think that's the most likely path forward, is that we're going to start to see oil push higher, up to say $200 or $200 a barrel. And then it's actually going to be that you will start to see a slowdown in economic activity because oil is pushing up so fast and consuming so much of so much of the cost, right? I mean, it's a tax effectively on the economy when oil gets higher, that the Fed will take its foot off the gas on interest rates, and it's going to be a decrease of the interest rate that is actually going to prick the bubble, or really a decrease in the rate of change of the interest rate, even if the interest rate just stays flat. because in my in my everything is backwards mind, as the interest rate flattens out or comes lower, that actually slows down the rate of velocity of money, and that is what is kind of the first necessary step in the in knocking the dominoes over to go ahead and crash the economy. So
okay. Also, Daniel points out a good point. Like, so, if the real interest rate actually becomes negative, if you've got high inflation and the rates are not rising enough to like support, quote unquote, support that, even though they got it backwards, then real interest rate, negative interest rate could turn, it becomes a surplus, right? Like so it's a tax. And that again is one of the things that Warren would often, if you give him the time, point out.
Yeah.
So if it's a real surplus, the government's running, even though they're still running a deficit, but a real surplus, then that's a tax on the economy, and again, that's a mechanism for the bad things to happen, some contraction, and but again, at that level, it's still it's still sort of monetary, and like Warren keeps saying, the governments can always get you out of a pure financial crisis. So it's looking more at the real economy where it matters. In the real economy, what's driving inflation now? It's going away. All the supply shock pressures from COVID are slowly abating, and they're going away. And I mean, that's what I see anyway. I mean, I don't see those effects. The monopoly price gouging is sort of fading away, I think. And you've got left with I think I agree with Douglas that the oil maybe is the one left over that might do a bit of damage. I mean, is that how you see it? I mean, I don't look at all countries and see COVID supply shock pressures increasing anymore. They're dropping away.
Yeah, correct. Yep. I would agree. We are starting to see inflation abate a bit. Certainly continues to be. Sorry, guys, I'm looking something up real quick.
I can understand in Canada high rates of concern, right? It's like, do you have the income stream to pay off your debt, or are you in a position of you have a debt that cannot be repaid? So you're going to suffer, bankruptcies eventually or defaults on it. So if you look at the debt default rate, I think is where, so you can be concerned before the debt default rates go up as a concern, but then you really are concerned once you get a lot of debt default in the private sector. Yeah. But it's like what I think we're talking about is what is going to be the sort of triggers or the mechanisms for a massive amount of debt defaults.
Yes. Yep.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Stop something has to block the trickle down, or a monopolist has to sort of start being insane.
Yeah, which I think. Yep. I agree. I mean, those are the two things that could happen. The one thing that would stop the trickle down is a contraction in lending, because that is one channel that the trickle down happens through. Then the other is going to be the monopolist. Yeah, I think that's oil. I think we're going to see it, man. I finally found my tweet back in February. I called out because we were going back and forth. I can maybe just pull up the tweet. Give me a second here. I will transition this over. So I was saying the real question isn't the lag time that it takes for rates to cause deflation, disinflation, because they don't. It's how long until the raising interest income supports the higher term structure of prices. I think we're getting the answer. So I mean, this is back at the beginning of the year when we were really starting to see the better than expected data come in. The response was, is this the same Daniel? Is this the same Daniel in chat? I'd love to know. And are you saying, is the answer seeing markets going higher, the low unemployment, or is there some kind of recent CPI information I don't know about suggesting inflation is sticking around? so when I put this kind of cryptic tweet in, markets higher, economy hotter. Obviously, that's played out. But the CPI surprise will come this summer, and I think what I had in mind when I tweeted that out is exactly what I continue to say, which is eventually, over the next, in this instance, 2-3 months, when I tweeted this, we should start to see a better than expected economy, which then means people are going to start price gouging. I mean, it's going to come, and the ones that can do it and get away with it are the ones that are closest to monopoly price setting capacity. OPEC, Saudis being that. So, yeah, Bijou. I'll keep banging. I'll keep banging that drum, saying,
keep banging that.
This
keep
is
banging that. Also, you're going to have to actually do something with this to make it really effective, right? Because I've never seen yet a case on Twitter where someone goes back over like a year of tweets and goes, see, I told you so.
Yeah.
They only ever do that when it's to catch someone, in the past who did a racism or did a sexism, and then it's like, you're fired now today because 10 years ago you did a racism or you did a sexism, and we've uncovered it. They never do it in the reverse positive direction. So it's going to be interesting. Like, you should, it could be the first ever case of like an economist going back over their own tweets, or financial analyst that's say, I don't want to abuse you by calling you an economist. But actually doing an article about their tweets. Proper academic article. I know you're never going to write it, but maybe I could.
Oh no, dude! I have no. You can ask my wife. I have no problem patting myself on the back for the greatness that I exude.
Somehow, I just don't think Twitter listens to like I told you so. Unless you're
really right. Yeah, I'm trying to think here. That's what I was gonna say. I will admit the one thing that I completely got wrong. I just didn't think the Fed would ever have it in them to do it, but I really didn't think, going back to over a year ago, I really didn't think the Fed was going to start on the rate hike cycle that they did. I ultimately thought the Fed would maybe punch rates up a little bit, but I have been thoroughly surprised that rates have gotten to where they are, and It's been a good lesson for me to know that the Fed is hasn't really learned anything.
I really could you have predicted it with your with a Chat GPT or like feed them all of the past Federal Open Market Committee board minutes. I think the neural network could probably predict that they would have gone on an insane rate hike. Just guessing. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not totally sure. Because I agree that it was a bit surprising that they did go. But I reckon the AI would have said, no, they will probably go on a rate hike cycle. And it's just like, and we asked ChatGPT why, and so I don't really know. I'm just a neural network, like statistically giving you some predictions.
You've got me thinking. Okay, see, I thought that the U.S. would do effectively what Japan did.
I don't know. I reckon the neural network would have said no, but I'm only just speculating, guessing.
All right,
but I'm with you. I thought they may have been on the we can do what Japan does now. I would have thought they would have realized, but I don't know. They just have a thing about it, be in their bonnet about the Nauru. And there was a little Twitter thread on this with some guy. I saw Samuel Levy from MMT, he responded to this guy, someone called Tony. I just jumped in a little bit and just gave a two tweet reply thing. But there was some other guy, Mike, who also did this, who I've got a page of his website that I was going to read. He was analyzing inflation and so forth, saying that we're going to get a rise in unemployment later on this year. And it's like, oh yeah, you might, because they still believe in the Nauru, they will make the Nauru true. Like they're just whatever way, even with high rates. Okay, so the high rates are they don't directly create new jobs, but at the moment they are indirectly, right? Everything's sort of heating up a little bit. So you've got reasonably solid employment. You don't see any sign of unemployment dropping down. But if policymakers are so pig-headed that they just want to see the Nauru, not go to 0% unemployment. They will make it happen. It come hell or high water, right? They honestly believe in the Nauru, and so that is a problem. That's why they cannot make, even though they want to be Japan, low rates, but they're not going to be able to, right? Psychologically, they just can't see past the Nauru. That's one speculation I have. It's like affecting the psychology. Whereas Japan, culturally, a little bit different. So it turns out, like, when everyone says, yeah, well, but Japan is different, it's different culture, and our analysis cannot work for the Japanese, they're metaphysically different beings. Well, it kind of turns out there's a little bit of truth to that, right? I reckon, because from what Bill Mitchell has been writing about, because they hate people being wasteful and unemployed more than they believe in the Nauru. And that's why they are the Bank of Japan will buy up the government debt, and they'll try to keep people working. And even though they're still sort of fairly neoclassical minded people, they just have a different take on unemployment. They don't want to create unemployment, even though they believe in the Nauru. It's kind of a weird situation. Or actually, I don't know that they for sure believe in the Nauru. They want to somehow get unemployment right down. They don't like that. It's it's very sort of almost like a taboo thing to not be working over there. Whereas in the more liberal West, not making any racial slurs here, I'm just trying to look at like just the data. It looks like we're more happy with giving people welfare handouts, even though they're fully capable of working and want to work. We're just happier with, we're more comfortable with giving them handouts and just saying, yeah, it's a Nauru, sorry, that's it, can't have any more employment. No. So that's maybe also one of the sticking points with the Fed, and why maybe explains a little bit about why they chose the policy path that they have, because it's just total ideologically fixed in their heads about the Nauru. Boomers as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. As you're talking, by the way, I've been typing to Chat GPT. Yeah. So I might pop up the answers. I'm trying to, can I look into the camera more? Oh, God damn. For a second, I thought it was Thomas saying that, but I just realized it was Ty. Sorry, man. I'm typing.
Feature of Douglas is his voice. Come on, guys. Stop.
And to be fair, Bijou's never looking at the camera. He's always looking off to the side. So
That's right. Always better in profile. You don't want to see me front on, man. It'll turn you to stone.
God. ChatGPT's not coming up with too much, but
not enough inputs.
Let's see. Yeah, so that is one thing.
We're too short tonight to do Open Assistant, but sometime I want to do a live session on Open Assistant. It'd be cool
to actually like install it and see what it does. Open Assistant is a large language model.
Contribute to it. No, okay. I'm not so much into the use of chat bots and things like that. You got me around. You've got me to come around on Copilot, right? For writing code.
Did you install it?
Speeds up your day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is so exciting, guys.
Guess what though, man? Exciting. Guess how many times I've used Copilot? Guess.
Well, I don't know. Probably every day now.
No, 0. Yeah,
well, I thought you said you installed it.
I find thinking and musing about my code, and I just find it more satisfying. So what I'm saying is I haven't really come up against a sticky problem yet, because I haven't been writing software that's any academic. I haven't been writing my real science software yet. But when I go back to that, I'm sure I'll find it real useful and real time saver. But for the stuff for your MMT trader dashboard and that, it's too simple to bother with Copilot. It's not necessary. And I can't prompt Copilot faster than my brain works, and it's like basically my code writing is about fast enough, right? I'm not a touch typer, but I managed to type fast enough that I'm always ahead of the co-pilot. It's like, why would I waste time prompting it? And it's like, no, I can just write the code myself pretty much better. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it writes. Copilot definitely generates it faster than I can type. I'm sure about that because I'm not a touch typer. But anyway, that I like to think. I like to think about the logic of programs and the software.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
it's like, you take your time over a nice cuisine meal. You don't rush it, right? But if you're having McDonald's, well, for me, it would be McDonald's, but for others, it would be something else. Like, if you're having just a, piece of toast, orange juice, trying to get out, you rush that, right? So that's where you have the co-pilot that you're eating.
Yeah.
You don't want co-pilot when you go fine dining at a nice fancy restaurant. Anyway.
All right.
It's for another day because we're on a time.
Yes. Yeah. We'll give it a look.
Speaking of which, last week on a live stream,
yes.
Did you submit me to chess pornography?
You
exposed me. We were looking at
the chess picture.
Our physicist, right?
Yeah.
It just happened that his office had this chessboard.
Yeah.
And damn, it was like an actual chess
position. Yeah. Which rarely
occurred in real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, the dude was smoking this, Lord of the Ring gang of thing, and plus he was playing against a mirror. So I got to thinking, right?
A lamp.
That's a little bit a lamp. You're right. Right. So I'm misremembering. And then you start talking about how there's this sort of thing about the clocks, and it's like he's like clinging to his clock a little bit too much there, right?
It was too close to him. Yeah,
too close to him. Yep. And then the previous week, you see, we had been talking about chess boxing. How there's a sport actual sport. I'm pretty sure it's still played, right?
Still.
To take the piece, you have to get into actual combat in the ring.
Yeah.
So you put on boxing gloves and you have a bit of a bout. Yeah, that affects the game, right? So I'm thinking, there's a realist photo in the guy's office, chessboard, the mirror, the clock, the lamp, the clock. And then I got to thinking, is Douglas? I mean, I'm not impugning Douglas's reputation here. I think Douglas is an upstanding guy, good and all that. And he's not into any sort of weird shit. But
not into any weird shit.
But I was thinking, I did some research, right? So I'm doing some research. I think, okay, so the mirror. I thought it was a mirror, not a lamp. So I was going to say I'd have to ask Freud about the mirror later. But maybe the lamp was also Freudian. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. And then there's obviously a secret game, underground game that's played around the world amongst a student class of consenting adults, which is like sports, like boxing, chess, but it's chess sex, or for short, checks. So it's like chess boxing, but you have sex or foreplay. I'm not yet sure which, because I think this is quite a secret society. And when you capture pieces or do the moves, you have to have sex or something like that, right? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you do for porn promotions or crowning or anything yet. This is all very highly secret, I think. So think about it. I mean, the knights of the chessboard, but dodgy. You're riding around getting their jollies on the horses, and the rooks. Change one letter in the rook's name, you start to see their true nature, randy little pieces. And best not to talk about the bishops. They're obviously constrained to move on the diagonals to keep them away from the choir boys. But I found out that in ancient times they removed the choir boys from the chess pieces because that eliminated all that sort of scandalous.
They probably should have kept that policy in place, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah. So they figured that out. It was a bad publicity, but it's still underground, right? Here are some more clues. Right? So if you go down to old secondhand bookshops, I mean, I used to go to secondhand bookshops all the time. You come across these chess puzzle books. Have you come across these chess puzzle books? So people used to pay good money to get these chess puzzle books.
Yeah, right here.
And even secondhand ones. Oh my God. Oh, hang on. Don't show me that pornography.
They're all.
That is obscene.
This is actually a really good one. This is the one.
God.
Yeah. These are all my. Yeah,
close my eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're underage, please close your eyes.
Here we go. I can keep them going if you guys.
Close your eyes. This is. Oh,
getting
me all excited here.
I keep the OG one.
The rooks. Jeez.
I keep the OG one. I keep the
cover there.
Yeah. There's Bobby Fischer playing. Speaking about getting canceled, God,
Bobby Fischer. Yeah, I don't know.
There's something good.
Yeah, I know. He played real chess.
Yeah.
He'd find it hard to find a chess partner, right? But anyway, look at that opening the centerfold. Oh my God! Oh, my heart. So you have all these things, right? People even pay good money for them in used forms. So I think there's got to be something to this, right? The board diagrams, obviously aphrodisiacs for the chess cognoscenti, right? Further, I'll speculate that this undergrounding consenting adults game, right, is it's got to be that. So the sex or foreplay for a capture or whatever it is, and think about it. It's got to be a sport. It's so much superior to getting smacked in the face or the guts with boxing gloves. So it has to be a sport. I mean, chess cannot not be a sport. Obviously, it's very guarded by the elites and the exponents of it, the chess elites, because it's a dangerous sport, right? I mean, it could lead to the downfall of civilization as we know it, because everyone started playing chess. No one would show up. Is the
punchline of this that I need to play Go?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, as a purist, as a nice chaste, person, and believe in moral purity, I think you should play Go.
I should play Go.
But there might even be a version of Go. I'm not sure. That's an interesting thing. I think they also produce Go pornography. So final straw. The grandmaster practitioners are obviously very diligent of this because they keep their sport secret out of a moral duty. Because only the otherwise most chaste and pure couples, they're the only ones that can really play this. Otherwise, it would be like a metaphysical, hazard to humanity and civilization. Final clue then is, so why not call the best chess masters maestros, right? Or artists or grand mages.
Grand maestros.
No, they're called grand masters.
Yeah.
So, hey, mastering what domain? I ask you. It's pretty obvious to me now.
You're onto something here, especially given the chess world champions that have historic. We made it to the third hour in the second hour.
I know what domain they're mastering. So,
Josh,
that could explain.
To answer your question,
think about it.
Were the books any helpful? Yeah,
investigative journalism. Put on the job.
Out of all the books that I showed up and everything that I have in my shelf, the most helpful book, amazingly, is this stupid little kids book for how to beat your dad at chess. Man, this is if you want to.
That's awesome.
If you want the best introduction, this is the good one right here to go for. That was off the walls, Bijou.
Yeah, I don't know how it came up. I was just thinking about that last week. Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know how to respond, but that was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, think about it. See, obviously, you've got this pornography. You don't even know it's pornography.
Oh yeah. I even let my kids look at this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's so innocent. So innocent.
Memorize their chess openings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Such a wholesome dad. Yeah, all these. Naive and innocent.
I go, okay, so in terms of, so the question was, do I throw games against my kids or do I go hard? How we do it? my daughter's 5. I go easy on her. The other kids I don't, because I just love my daughter and she's so cute. The boys, they are on their own, man. No, actually how we do it is they get to remove pieces. So my youngest son, I usually start without a queen and a rook. So he's 9. My 5-year-old, I just go easy on. I'm happy if she understands how to how to move the pieces the right way and capture, which she does. She has pretty good grasp of at least the rules. My 9-year-old, he gets my queen. It used to be queen and rook, but he's been beating me with that. So now usually there's a queen and a bishop. And then my oldest son that plays, he's 12. He's getting pretty darn even, man. So we play for him. We play even. He gets unlimited time on the clock. I'll usually give myself 3 minutes, and that's our handicap. So, yeah, that's usually how we play. But the kids get this too, because they'll do this with they'll play with their siblings as well. It's like impossible to go easy. You just have to. I mean, it's hard to find the best wrong move to play.
Right. It's also a bit silly. The handicaps do sound really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way,
it keeps it fun.
In Go, it's just stones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a handicap that they use is to put you get 4 stones initially. You can place on the board. Usually they're in a rectangular lattice array, so you can't clump them together or whatever. But that's the handicap. And so guess what? So how the Google Alpha or whatever beat Lee Sedol, the world Go champion, who's considered to be one of the greatest Go players ever, Korean guy. It's such a sad movie because it's just so like brute force of thousands and thousands or not thousands, hundreds and hundreds of academic researchers, trawling through all recorded Go games in sort of recent history or whatever. They all crowd together and beat one guy, one little humble Korean dude. It's like just a travesty of a thing, right? It's just like having an army of robots in that try to beat the All Blacks at rugby. It's like it's almost a fait accompli, and even then they only just sort of managed to like beat them, right? So at least the doll took one game off AlphaGo and pushed AlphaGo pretty hard. It was just a complete like phony kind of PR kind of thing for the AI people.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was just horrible. And what it did to Sedol, he retired and all that. I found the whole thing really sad. It was a really interesting documentary they did on it, because at the end of the documentary, you'll find one of the guys in the AlphaGo team admitted exactly this, what I just said. He found it like everyone was like popping the champagne, AlphaGo beats the world. It's just, they said it would never be done, or blah, blah, blah. Everyone was like patting themselves in the back and all this. Whereas, Lee Sedol was going back to his family feeling utterly sort of shattered. But he'd been beaten by just this brute force sort of system. So he had no reason to feel shattered. But I mean, he couldn't help it, right? One of the people on the AlphaGo team admitted this, and they said, it wasn't the right way to go about doing this,
But I thought AlphaGo wasn't a brute force.
Oh, it is. You got the wrong idea about brute force. So they do reinforcement learning, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
They're feeding in a huge amount of data, a huge amount of knowledge. Knowledge-based system. It doesn't understand Go. So now they've got advanced things that can beat AlphaGo easily every time.
Yeah,
I forget what the name of it is. JKX394 or whatever is the current world leader. Now this other guy, so still a human, gives this JKX934 whatever massive handicap advantage. They get 9 stones on the board. 9 stones. Now that's like at the Grand Master of Go level, Grand Mage of Go level. That's like a win for the computer or the system any time. Whoever gets that handicap, right? It's impossible to lose, basically. So the human easily beats the machine in this case, even though it's better than AlphaGo, because it doesn't understand Go. The human just does these weird ass moves, and the human knows what they're doing, and the Go thing doesn't, and it just gets totally thrashed. So you can't play normal Go against the AI. What you got to do is play perverted Go. Oh, maybe Go sex is a thing. Gee,
I did hear that,
know.
like, I don't know the rules of Go, but I did hear that they did find like a hole in the understanding of the deep learning models that learned Go, that they were able to build this like square
Yeah.
or something like that. Then it completely threw it off. It had no understanding of why.
Threw it off. But all the AI models get thrown off. You know, they they could be fooled and tricked into just making completely stupid, nonsensical things, which shows they're not conscious. And so all this fear about AI is completely misplaced. And it's what you and I have been talking about is the great problem is you know, ruthless oligarchs and business tycoons getting their hands on the AI and doing all sorts of shit. You know, can you imagine? It's so easy to crack a computer later. You won't need to have advanced quantum cryptography code breaking. You just have sort of social, you know, social engineering, that kind of thing that AIs can do to, you know, almost guess people's passwords.
Yeah.
Or even if they don't guess them, they could figure them out some other way. And, you know, once you guess them, all sorts of things can be done with AI that's loose and rogue in the hands of, you know, unethical actors. And that's the big danger of AI is way before you get to super intelligence taking over the world. There's all of this threat from just very, very good AI systems that are not conscious.
It does.
Massive.
I have a couple thoughts. Because one of the thoughts with the AI, right, is you know, we found this hole in the ability of the AlphaGo or whatever the bot was that didn't realize this simple structure, right? So in other words, you flash this AI thing and it has no understanding of this, right? And then something that is superhuman in its ability to play Go can't figure out a basic strategy that, you know, a beginner Go player would understand how to, right? So the fear is, to me, anytime you allow an autonomous system that has been trained to do something and you allow it some autonomy, right? There's no way to ask it, what is it that you don't know? Right. Like,
It's the other thing.
Right. Like, exactly. So when you get,
it's not even criminal activity, right? It's just like reckless release of AI.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's it. Like, let's just say, let's say you take like autonomous vehicles, for example, right? You end up categorizing every single thing across the board, that car could ever see, right? And it's gonna make a decision based on whatever it sees, and then all of a sudden, let's just say a state decides that they're going to change the design of their stop signs or something, right? Something stupid like that, right? You know, I mean, I know they probably wouldn't, but you get what I'm saying, right? There's some change in design or whatever, you know, a billboard, they start putting some logo on a billboard or something like that, right?
Right.
And for whatever reason, somewhere deep in this neural network, it sees the logo on this billboard and somehow that logo on a billboard makes the AI want to push the gas pedal on the car, right?
Exactly.
Uncontrollably, right? Like, for whatever reason.
Uncontrollably.
And I know you can put in safeguards, right? I get all that. I know you can put in redundancies. I know engineers think through this stuff, but the point is, you don't know where the hole is. You don't know.
You don't know the hole.
Right?
Exactly. A black box.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, and actually, I've seen and messed around with particularly how convolutional neural networks determine the various features of what it sees, right? Like if you were to explain how it is, you differentiate a 3 to a 9, right? You would say, well, you know, a 3 has some gaps on you know, it's kind of like, you know, they got some curves and some gaps on the left side, and it's like 2C
qualia based.
Right. I mean, you can come up with a vocabulary to kind of define this, and maybe you could break it up into parts as well. It's bizarre what a neural network actually ends up. It's pure
it's statistical.
It's statistical. And it's static. I mean, it looks like static when you look at it. You don't understand
no qualia, no consciousness.
And so that being said, if it's just seeing versions of static, and I mean, it's very good. I'm not trying to say that AI.
Statistically, they're amazing. So they're amazing statistical engines, right? It's statistics that is of the most advanced variety that humans have come up with. But it's not statistics in the old sort of mathematical analytic calculus sense. It's brute force, it's statistical, and so it's fascinating, it's brilliant, it's like an amazing human accomplishment to have come up with this branch of statistics called neural networks and machine learning and all that.
Yep.
So it's so phenomenal. But you're absolutely right. It's not thinking the way humans do, and so the AI ethics people are on top of it, I think. But the politicians, are not.
Yeah. Here's the kicker, though. Here's where I'll come back to, and that is, I think humans do the exact same thing, though. Right? Like I mean,
in what sense?
That humans can see something, have some sort of sensory input, whether it's vision, sound, whatever, that they too can unconsciously
illusions and all that.
Not even optical. No, not even optical illusions, right? I mean, all of a sudden, someone's driving down the road and they think, God, I really want to text my friend and see what they're up to, right?
So let me stop driving and text my friend. No, it's not. It's. You're talking about behavioral terms.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what it's.
Yes, behavioral terms. People can do weird things, but it's not quite the same as the AI. Mistaking this complete static image for a tree.
Yep.
No, humans are doing something very, 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 very different. It's subjective. It's conscious qualia and things which you cannot generate with a computation. So if you know any philosophy of mind ahead of time, that we can see analogies between breakdown in human psychology and reasoning that are analogous to the AI getting. They're not. It's not a bug in their program, right? It's not a bug. It's not a mistake in the programming. It's just how it works statistically. It can have these massive sort of quote unquote failures. It's not a failure of the programming or anything. It's the neural network is working correctly. But in the case of humans, it's sort of a different thing. It's a psychological or brain or neurological sort of quirky thing that is abnormal. Anyway, but I mean, I could go on about this for a long time.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I'll never convince the AI nerds because they're just ideological, right?
Well,
they don't know about physics. They don't know about physics.
Amen.
They just think they can emerge, qualia and consciousness out of a computation. They have no idea what the word emerge means in that context. They're just complete nuts, complete naive as hell kind of thinkers about it. But I agree with you on the politics and the ethics and all that. I think it's something that, just as we have regulations for covering human behavior and certain protections from people who are a bit, psychotic, it's not the same. But I think analogously, we're going to have protections against, quote unquote neurotic AI.
It's right around the pike.
Why not?
Well,
why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be done.
All right, crew. Like I said, I gotta call it an early one tonight. Sorry. Gotta get some packing done.
That's all right. We all understand.
We'll
come
see.
back, have a vacation, be refreshed.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be refreshing, man. For kids to Disney World is always a
different type of refreshing.
Yeah, it's always different type of refreshing. It'll be fun for them though. That's why we do it.
Yeah. Ball of a time.
Hopefully we can be back live next week, and then the week following, we'll be attempting to get some good stuff to show soon.
What is the thing about Disney that I have the most phobia of?
What is it? You're asking?
Have
me?
A guess. Yeah.
Oh, you're asking me to guess what you have.
Sticky children's fingers.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah. I'm a huge germaphobe.
You got to get into the mode of not caring too much about that.
I am a huge germaphobe.
Baby wipes are one of the most amazing inventions of mankind.
Yeah.
Baby wipes.
Yeah. It's tough, but I do it for the kids.
We admire your sacrifice. Good stuff, man.
Yes. All right, guys.
Or do you have any,
just don't promise that we'll be back same bat time, same bat place. Because I can't make that guarantee. We might be.
Oh, quick poem then.
Yeah.
It might be. So I'll do a quick poem instead. So Powell the preacher asked Jack Reacher, who said the rates hikes are a rich man's creature. We are out of here.
I like it.
And we'll see you at some time later. Probably the same MMT time of the day.
Yes.
Same MMT channel.
All right,
bye all.
All right, crew. Have a good one, everyone.
Take it easy, man.
Take care.
And you have a good one too.